Questions for the witness. Representative Schieber, proceed.
You mentioned tax break versus tax grab. Could you go into a little bit more detail about what the difference might be there?
Sure. So traditionally, for decades, dating back to the 1930s, economic development incentives in this country have been defined by property tax abatements or reductions, or diversions like TIF, or income tax credits for capital investment or R&D, which would reduce a company's corporate income taxes, or sales tax exemptions on new machinery or building or equipment. But those are all taxes that a company would pay. They're the company's money that is then, tax liability is reduced. The two programs I mentioned and the 20 other programs in the 15 other states are workers' money. They're state personal income withholding taxes that ultimately don't end up in state treasuries to pay for public services, but the workers don't know that. No state requires they be notified, and a lot of the states actually created them to fuel job piracy. I mean, Kansas's program was originally even statutorily written that way. The peak program that's involved in the AMC entertainment deal.
And it was they're set up that way to fuel job piracy. What do you mean by that?
Well, so for instance, in New Jersey, a program called BEEP, which last year cost that state $178 million, is openly, knowingly going to companies that are moving jobs very short distances from Manhattan, often just to Jersey City, facing Manhattan on the other side of the Hudson River. It's not just AMC here, it's lots of other state border lines like that. I don't mean to pick on Missouri in this respect. I mean, it's a 16-state problem.
May I ask one more question?
Proceed, sir.
You mentioned we were ranked 5th in something.
Transparency.
And so you're saying we're 5th transparent, but yet you're saying we're tax grabbers instead of tax...
The quality of your online disclosure, especially your accountability portal, which has been around for quite a few years now, is really exemplary. It's robust and detailed, and better than average.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam.
Certainly. Representative McGee and then Nasheed.
Inquire, Madam Chair.
Certainly.
You mentioned that you thought that business should report when it is failing also.
Correct.
And if I were to have a failing business, and if I were to start telling everybody that my business is failing, before long it will fail because you won't be able to get any more financial backing, people will start pulling out, people will start looking for other jobs, and knowing that things are going in the wrong direction. You can't run a business by telling people that you're failing and try to boost that business and build that business back up. So I think I would be negative to people. I mean, it would be good information to have maybe, but to what avail unless you were going to stop people from investing or stop people from trying to make that business better.
When I said fail, I don't mean the business is failing. I mean that the company is not delivering on the full amount of pledged activities, whether it's job creation, capital investment, R&D. So for instance, if a company says we're going to create 100 jobs in 3 years and they create 70 jobs, the annual report after 3 years would say, fell 30 jobs short. There's no evidence from states that do report this. Big states like red states like Texas or blue states like Illinois, who have some of the best clawback disclosure systems in the country, there's no evidence that they're hurting themselves or interfering with the companies that are reporting. Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Representative Nasheed and then Representative Brown.
Inquire, Madam Chairman.
Proceed.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Now, where do you say you're from?
Good Jobs First in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Okay. And have you spoken with the Department of Revenue to see if they were in support of this oversight that you're looking for?
Not specifically about 1571. We did interview them and commerce officials about our studies. We always talk to program directors or people who have revenue figures to verify all of our numbers.
I'm sorry, this particular bill, you haven't spoken with them?
No.
You don't know what position they hold on this particular bill?
We had a very brief discussion with them at noontime today.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Representative Brown.
To inquire.
Certainly.
The incentive programs that we're running, half of which are social tax credits. I'm not sure, but are you trying to equate the tax credits to workers pay?
The two programs I mentioned, the Quality Jobs Program and the Automotive Manufacturing,
Okay, yeah, that's true.
not historic preservation or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
And, so you're wanting to maybe have a report of our failures and success and have it be on the portal to be more accurate.
Right.
And so in economic development, you know, sometimes it's a gamble. You know, you have them, sometimes you don't. You want them, sometimes they go somewhere else. We don't know.
Right.
And so it's hard to have an accurate accounting like budget. You know the number that's going to come in, you know the number you're going to spend. So how is it that you're going to have this? Are you going to be able to tell the future on EcoDevo?
No. These are retroactive reports. These are annual reports by the company to the Commerce Agency or the Revenue Department, which can be verified with unemployment insurance records or payroll audits or whatever. It's easy to do that. And we graded the states on whether or not they verified the reports.
Do businesses come to those states who have good grades?
Oh yes, I don't think, there's no evidence, and I've been tracking this stuff since the late 80s when I published my first study on accountability standards. There's no evidence of any kind that any state or city has lost any deals by having good disclosure or job quality standards or enforcement of
What about
clawbacks.
the price of the project? Does it go up with the landowners? Oh, this is retro.
No, I don't understand why it would affect the market that way.
Well, we have a debate here in Missouri on tax credits and whether or not they should be a budgetary issue or whether or not we're playing the game of stimulating and encouraging and incentivizing for blighted or for whatever projects that we have, for job creation or for social. It otherwise wouldn't occur had not the tax credit program been there. And so some folks don't really understand the tax credit programs. Now, the porthole, do you feel, is maybe educating those people who don't understand? Have you been able to sway people?
I don't know how good the traffic is to the portal. We've recommended it many times to journalists and people in other states looking for exemplary designs of websites. I mean, North Carolina, Illinois, Missouri, Pennsylvania are standout disclosure websites with robust tax credit disclosure.
I like the idea. I just think that there's a misunderstanding of the whole programs in general. And some folks haven't bothered to take a look at what these programs do.
Right.
And if the portal is there and if it encourages people to get the good information, I support that.
Yep.
But if it's there to say, prove that somehow we're in some game and that it should be some oversight with a budgetary, that somehow this is a science that can be accountable, like accounting,
Right.
I think that is assuming a great deal.
No, we know
Even
companies.
if it's retro, I think it just proves a point, especially those companies who fail. Because what you're going to do is whip out those companies who fail to beat up the rest of the programs and say, well, if these companies fail, what's the justification for continuing any program? And this is where we are now. We're in a pickle. We're in a pickle. And I don't know how to solve it. And I appreciate the fact that you're interested in getting out good information.
To really, really reassure you, I'm not just picking on Missouri, we have something called the subsidy tracker on our website where we have captured all the online data disclosed on, we've now got something from every single state plus the District of Columbia. The quality and amount of data varies according to the quality of the sunshine in the state. But we jokingly told people who said they're going to put up stuff on PDF on their website which can't be searched, that within days we will have it in searchable Excel on our website, just like we have yours. We have every single line of data you've ever disclosed in an online searchable Excel spreadsheet on our website, along with every other state in the country.
And for good information, you know,
Yeah.
if it's used in a way that, anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Further questions? Representative Brandon,
To inquire,
proceed.
I don't understand exactly what our REMI system is that the University of Missouri, I think, compiles for us, but I know there's been concern about it. Did you have to use it in your numbers, or did you have access to it?
No, I have used REMI in the past, and I know what it is, and I know what its competing products are. It's an input-output model used to project the ripple effects of either a positive economic event like job creation or a negative one like a plant closing. I actually did gobs of plant closing studies using a public sector version of that from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. I probably did 60 or 70 of them.
So is that a program that's currently used all over right now in
Yes.
other states?
It's along with another product called Implan. They are the two dominant competing commercial software products.
Thank you. Thank you.
Further questions? Representative Lauer?
Madam Chair to inquire.
Certainly.
Thank you.
I wish you felt
You're
better.
not mean. She's been so sick, you all, and she's just such a trooper.
Yeah.
Sir, would you describe, I understand you have a nonpartisan, not-for-profit group. How do you see, rather than just supporting this bill that the representative brought forward, how are you seeing your role in this?
Sure, we work with groups of public officials. I list a number of associations and agencies that we've worked with in the past. We train for anybody who's interested in making economic development more effective, whether it's groups of public officials or interested citizens. We publish studies. Last year alone we published 10 studies. We provide 60 or 70 trainings or testimonies like this annually. So we're a small organization. We only have 8 staff people, but we have this kind of hyper specialty in incentives. So we're very productive with it.